Hi, everyone. How are you doing today? Thank you guys for joining us for another Facebook Live event with your host, Venice Irving. And I have a special guest today. Her name is Lorraine Hamilton. And our topic for tonight is parent-teacher bonding, collaborating for success. Before we get into the meat of the matter, the first thing I want you to do is come on in, tell your mom, tell your dad, tell your friends and family, share this video. Just click on the share button below and share this video so that the other people on your page can see us talking about parent-teacher collaboration. Also, I want you to put down in the comment box, wherever you're viewing this, your name, and of course, where you're viewing this from. As you know, we always get viewers from all over the world, as far as South Africa, even Taiwan, Japan. So let me know where you are viewing this from. All right. So we're getting right into the meat of the matter, the topic today, parent-teacher bonding, collaborating for success. Now we have a special guest, like I said, Lorraine Hamilton, and I'm going to open the floor for Lorraine to introduce herself. Lorraine, take it away. Lorraine is sticking. Hi, Lorraine, can you hear me? All right, so I'm not hearing Lorraine at all. So I will introduce Lorraine for you, and until Lorraine gets her technical difficulties under control, let me just say that Lorraine is an event planner by profession. However, she's always been interested in learning more about the education field and also about teacher and parent relations. She has 4 children, and with those children, and they are of varied ages, she has seen differences in the way she had to interact with the teachers, and it depends on how old the child is and from the generation. When her 20-year-old daughter, she had to talk to and interact with her and her teacher differently than how she's interacting with her now 7-year-old son and his teacher. So as the generations go by, as the years roll on, you'll see that we have to collaborate differently. We have to step up to the now times to see how we can not only make friends with the teachers, but collaborate for success for our children. All right, so I believe that Lorraine is right now she's gone, but I know she's trying to get back on. So as she gets back on, I'm just going to continue with the topic at hand. Now, I wanted to first start off by giving parents the tips for first day of school. And this is particularly for when parents want to know how to bridge and start a great relationship with the teachers. So for me, my tip would be the first thing is to get to school before the first day of school. See if there's normally an orientation day where all the new students and returning students will come. You can come during that time, introduce yourself to the teacher, get acquainted with that new teacher, explain to the new teacher about your child, if that child has had difficulties in the past, if that child has maybe special needs or some learning, disabilities or deficiencies. Maybe speaking to the teacher, letting her know up front what's going on with your child before you start the first day of school. I know teachers always appreciate that. Also, what I would always suggest to the parents is that during the summer, do not allow your child to only watch TV, play video games, go on YouTube on their phones or on the tablet. Find some time for them to review their work. Personally speaking, for my son, what I like to do is, I hope everybody's hearing me clearly, by the way. But personally, what I like to do for my son is I like to go through different general study areas, things that he may not even learn at school. For example, each month we may go through different topics, like we did the butterfly the other day, and we looked at the different stages of the butterfly. We looked at the different food the butterfly eats. We look at what the caterpillar eats, and what the butterfly has to go through in his stages of life in order to be a butterfly. You understand? And then we would do art and craft related to butterfly. So then I'll do a butterfly art and craft, I'll do an insect art and craft. And so we learn all about butterfly for say 2 to 3 weeks. All we talk about are butterflies, and I get it in his head. The next topic may be dolphins. So we look at dolphins, we look at why dolphins are so friendly to humans. We look at, the other fishes in the sea and how the dolphins have to relate to the other fishes in the sea. We look at the different sounds that the dolphins make, why dolphins don't have scales as opposed to other fishes in the sea. We look at all those things. So I broadened his mind. So it's not only academic work, it's not only book work. You get me? I remember another month we did volcanoes, and I remember that particular month there were a lot of volcanic eruptions in the Hawaiian Islands. I think that was sometime last year. So we were looking at volcanoes, and I showed him the news report on that particular eruption with the volcanoes, and we talked about how volcanoes are formed and how actually some of these Hawaiian islands are actually formed by dormant volcanoes, and the lava that comes out, and why is the lava hot, and all that jazz. So it broadens his mind that he doesn't have to sit and think about a subject like math or English, or maybe your child is doing algebra, or maybe your child, welcome back, Lorraine. Maybe your child,
thank you,
science or biology, physics. You can broaden your child's mind during the summer months and teach him other things of the world. All right, another tip that I would give the parents is to also rehearse self-help skills. And these self-help skills are things like how to dress themselves, how to undress themselves, how to wash their hands, manners at the table, how to clean up after themselves, how to help each other, how to tie your shoelace, how to buckle your belt if you're a boy, how to sit properly if you're a girl, how to, self-grooming tips also. If they're at PE and they run all day and they're sweaty, they come in the classroom, the first thing they do, go to the bathroom, wash your face. These self-help skills helps the teacher. So the teacher doesn't have to be behind the student's back all the time, telling them to wash your hands and clean up after yourself and don't do that and throw this in the garbage. No, if you do this at home, then it will be easier on the teacher. All right, and the last one I would suggest that you do is have something like what do I call it? An etiquette. Have your child do some etiquette classes, and that etiquette classes should last throughout his time with you, from baby, toddler, going into children age, going into teenager. Etiquette always helps because you don't want, number one, your child to go out a road and embarrass you, and number two, everybody loves to see a well-mannered child and a well put together child. So that also helps the teacher. So Lorraine, thank you for joining us again. I was just giving tips on the teacher, on parents, learning more about how they can help the teacher at the first day of class. All right. All right, so let us move on. All right, so another thing I wanted to talk to you about, I'm still waiting on Lorraine to come. I'm not sure where she's at again, but she seemed to be having some technical difficulties. So we talked about talking about how parents and teachers can collaborate together. And what we spoke about very passionately, we realized that many parents tend to compare. Not only the parents, teachers tend to compare too. And because parents and teachers compare students among each other, we found out that that is one of the many ways that hinders collaboration between parents and teachers. No parent wants their child to be compared with another child. And teachers will always encourage the parents, don't compare your child to another child either. So I would like to give that, well, my personal experience with that is that I am one of a set of twins. And if you know me personally, you know that I have a twin sister. We are identical, and we are just compared by default. Once you see a pair of twins, the first thing you're going to look at is you're going to see the difference. Okay, let me look at both of them. Which one is taller? Which one is shorter? Which one is thinner? Which one is fatter? Which one is more eloquent? Which one achieves more in life? It's just an ongoing comparison. And that's what I faced, me and my sister. That's what we faced throughout our lives, just constantly being compared. And that is not good, because once you find that you are compared to another person, especially when you're compared to a sibling, sometimes if you're not good in a certain area, you feel bad that you're not good in a certain area. Well, maybe that's just not your area. Maybe that's just not your gift or that talent. So my suggestion is to encourage parents and teachers to groom the children to grow in their own individuality, so that they get to know themselves, know their gifts and their talents. They don't see John over there and want to do what John is doing. They don't see Mary over there and want to do what Mary is doing. No, they find out who they are, find out their own gifts and talents, because everybody has their gifts and talents. And then from there, they can work and just focus on them and their progress. And what I tend to compare is I compare my my results today with my previous results before. So I don't make the comparison across the board to others. What did you get? What did you get? How did you do this? No, I look at how I did it in the past and what I'm doing now, and I make that comparison. Am I doing better than 5 years ago? Am I achieving more? Have I maybe have I relaxed on my goals, or am I more goal oriented now? Am I achieving these goals? All of that comes into play. All right. So another thing we wanted to look at is parents with special needs children. Parents with special needs children, many teachers sometimes tend to get a bit impatient when they don't understand what's going on with the child. So if the child maybe it's a slow learner, slow reader, maybe the child has learning deficiencies, maybe their learning style is just different than the other children. Maybe what you can do if you find that you have a child that is slower than the average child, or if you have a child that is just not like the others, they're unique, they're different, and they're special. Having a one-on-one sit down with that teacher and writing and creating strategies in how to help these children or help my child along the way is always good. And parents, please don't cast judgment on the other children. You don't know what other children are going through. You don't know what other parents are going through. So you might see a child in class and they may be misbehaving, they may be disruptive, they may have ADD, ADHD, all the D's in the world. You might not know what their home life is. So please refrain from casting judgment or saying things that will hurt the person. The general rule is, if you have nothing good to say, don't say anything at all. And also have it in your mind that if you say something, just pass it through that filter in your mind. Would I want somebody to say this to my child? If the answer is no, then don't say it to the child. All right. So I'm assuming that Lorraine is having a bit of difficulty because I'm still not seeing her coming on. So I'm still gonna move on. We talked about how teachers actually tend to, what was the term that we used? Let me look quickly. Okay, Teachers give their effort according to their salary level. That's what we found. And when I say according to your family level, I mean, or rather according to your salary level, I mean that if I'm a teacher and I'm paid $20,000 for, per month to teach this particular class, then I'm going to give you $20,000 worth of my time. After that is run out, then I have no more to give. And the tendency is to say, well, I wasn't paid enough to do this. You got to find somebody else to teach the children after school or to give extra work after school because they don't pay me enough. I've actually heard a teacher say that before. So the impact of that on the children is that the children don't know what you're getting paid. They don't know how you're getting paid. They don't know how you spend your money. So you're actually punishing the child by saying that. So my suggestion would be to offer extra lessons, and some schools allow the teachers to offer extra lessons at an extra cost, and you can pinpoint the students in the class who you know are a little slow, maybe need some extra attention. Some teachers have their own extra lessons that they do. I know one particular teacher that actually has she has her own cram school, meaning aftercare school, at her home, right there on our veranda. And they come and they sit, and she teaches them. I think she teaches them PEP or GSAT. Back in the day it was GSAT, now it's PEP. So she teaches them, and they all learn together, they all grow together, and she gets extra pay that way. Of course, you can always join Happy Teachers, and you can join the Happy Teachers online club for additional ways in which you can earn second income. So the whole point is we want the teachers to be comfortable with their salary. We want the teachers to not use salary as an excuse for them not to give their best in the classroom. All right. Okay, so how can teachers now collaborate with parents so that when we have our students, that all our students do well, and when they do exams, that all students pass and all students are successful? All right, the first thing I would suggest for the teachers, and I'm sure every teacher knows this, right? That all children are different. There's no child that's the same, right? And likewise, all parents are different too. And what I would like to also suggest to these teachers is to realize that when you give such suggestions to the parents, sometimes the parents will misinterpret it as an attack on their parenting skills. All right. So I'm going to give you an example. I remember I went to my son's sports day, and I was there with him. We were having a lovely time watching the kids running and winning races and all of that. And I turned my back for 2 seconds, people, 2 seconds. When I turned around, my son was nowhere to be found. I looked. I asked the other parents, I asked the other kids. Of course, it's sports day, so everybody's all around, everybody's running around and all of that. And I looked, I could not find my son. And I went to his homeroom teacher, and she was like, but you know that you have to watch the boy, he will just run away. And then I was like, oh my goodness, this lady's attacking me right in front of everybody. That's how I felt, She may not have been, but at that moment, that's how I felt. I felt like she was basically saying, you're not a good mom because now you can find your child. Nevertheless, we looked around, the other teacher started looking. Eventually, we found him in a classroom, sitting all by himself. So the whole point of the matter is, teachers, just bear that in mind, that when you do speak to some of the parents sometimes misinterpret it as a sign of attack, and sometimes they go on defense. They start to defend themselves, defend their child. And that's not good. What we want to do is to break down that barrier of blaming parents, blaming teachers. That cycle of blame we need to stop. And if we need a child to be successful, then both parent and teacher have to sit down and talk about it, write down different strategies for that specific child, and do some trial and error. Let me see, let me try this, let me try that. Maybe the only thing you need is for that child to stop sitting at the back of the class and sit at the front. Because when he's at the back of the class, he's distracted, or she's distracted, because she has friends around there and the teacher cannot see at the back of the class, or she can't hear good. I remember when I was at high school, I was doing well enough. I was always an average to above average student. Nothing too, I did have very good grades, but I was good. I was getting through school okay. And then I realized I was not seeing properly, what was on the board. And it didn't even occur to me that I needed glasses. It just did not occur to me. And I was there, sometimes I would squint to see what's on the board, and I was just, I couldn't be bothered. So I would just look in somebody else's book and take the notes until I think it was my math teacher from Wilmer's said, can you see properly? And I was like, not really. And then she told my mom, and then, I went to get my eyes tested, and then I got a pair of glasses. And I said to somebody, it's like I'm seeing a different world. I didn't even know I was blind. So sometimes it's just a simple thing that needs to be changed. And then, you see that gradual improvement in the grades, gradual improvement in behavior, and so forth. All right. What else? All right. Another thing that we were talking about that could help with parent-teacher collaboration is for parents not to be in denial when the teacher approaches you and say, okay, I think little Johnny is having behavioral problems. He does not react, or he doesn't, he doesn't respond well to authority. So he's very combative, very disruptive, and he disrespects me in front of the class. He disrespects his friends. Some teachers tend to go on the defense. No, not my little Johnny. Could never. You must be mistaken. My little Johnny is an angel. Really. So I think some parents are in denial. Some parents just believe that their child is, like I just said, an angel and would not give any trouble. I remember reading a book when I was a young girl called The Two Carolines. Have you ever read that story before, The Two Carolines? At home, she was rude and combative and disruptive. I think that's how it goes, right? And when she went to school, she was an angel. She did nothing wrong, and the teachers loved her and her friends loved her. It was the Two Carolines, and some children are like that. At school, they may be angels. The teacher loves them and everything. At home, they are the living devil. Sorry. I don't mean it that way, but you know what I mean. They give problems. You have to speak to them 10 times before they hear you. They are rude and disrespectful, and it's just a challenge. You have some children that are just challenging when it comes to discipline. So being in denial will not help. Accepting who your child is at this point helps. That doesn't mean that that child will always be that way. All right. So just remember, it's always a phase. We go through phases in life. I'm here as an adult, and I'm still going through phases in life. So everybody has their own time when they go through their phase. However, as parents and as teachers, our goal is not to have our child stuck in a phase that is negative and disruptive and combative, and is just not positive. You want them to move out of that phase as soon as possible and land in a phase of more positivity. You understand what I'm saying? So encouraging that child, and each child is different. So you may speak to another child and talk to them and encourage them, and you may get them to respond. Another child will not respond that way. And another child may respond by being punished. And when I say punished, I mean you have punishment in different ways. You can be punished by putting them in timeout. You can be punished by taking away things that they like. I realize that boys react that way. Since I have a boy, I have been, researching on how boys react to discipline. And through research, I realized that boys react by you taking away things that they like. So if my son acts up when there's something that's, rude, and, shows disruptive behavior, I will take away his video time. He has a certain time where he gets the tablet, and I allow him to play, not necessarily video games, but I allow him to watch videos on YouTube. And that time where he will use to sit and look at the video, I take away that time and have him study instead or do something else. So once he knows that if he does something wrong, he gets that punishment where something is taken away, then I see a turning in his behavior towards a positive change. Welcome, Lorraine. Are you with us now?
I think so. I do apologize. The system has been the wrong time to decide to disappear on us.
Right. Okay, so I have gone through quite a few things on screen, and I'm gonna continue with you, but let me just go through some of the comments. Kimon says, first, the parents must be willing to collaborate with teachers. It makes no sense if parents have attitudes of everything is taught at school and leave the burden on teachers alone. Then they wonder why the system fails sometimes. All right. Okay, so she's just giving her feedback on the fact that parents need to do their jobs at home too. All right, Lorraine, so just quickly introduce yourself and let me start asking you some questions afterwards. Go ahead, Lorraine. Are you still not hearing me? All right, it seems as if Lorraine is gone again. Tonight is not the night for Lorraine at all. Tonight is not the night for Lorraine. I probably will do another live session with her because I guess her computer is just acting up. Lorraine, are you with us again? It's still stuck. Hello? I'm still.
Yes, I'm here.
I'm not hearing you. You're breaking up, and it is. Are you able to introduce yourself to everyone?
Yes, I'm hearing you now. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Can you hear me?
Lorraine, go ahead. Just tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Hi, good night. Okay. Hi, good night. My name is Lorraine Hamilton, and I am a development coordinator and author of Lorfam's children's books. This idea came to me in from 2006, actually, where my sister and I actually began a process of consultation organization levels of such as organizing their office spaces, cleaning offices, different businesses that people not, but board we never considered any job menial. It spiraled from there into going corporate, working for other, and also expanding on or doing coordination workshops of different sorts. The idea for came about with my younger teaching from the book of learning by, which is something that I actually started from. It worked out in such a way that he was able to grasp information, read, and assist who had difficulty trying to have their children reading. Readers is from age 2 up. Also a good book, not children, so individuals not able to read at a later stage, or inside information, as well as able to associate picture with word that will come natural. Then there is also the shorthand version, and teaches them how to, so they're able to exactly what it is like. There's also the timetable book, which has 3 different, and it teaches in a fun way where they're able to take the book even by themselves. All the materials are not be able to move on in life into being instant, so has a spiritual back. I ourselves, and we're here being on a higher calling. He all, then nothing is impossible. And that is why, for me personally, putting on this for parent-teacher bonding for success is something something I've seen that works, or from the being involved and not just allowing a teacher. So they parents cannot leave it all up to teachers. Have their life to parents. So even though they're in a classroom setting, parents cannot leave it all entirely up to them. You come, you follow your teacher, and from there you will be able to understand from that lack, expound upon the situation to our children propel themselves to the next level. I've seen where, because of my involvement with my children, the difference in attitude towards their of how to plan, be responsible, and making and have whatever done at the appointed time, but done ahead of time. And they are merge themselves with other students and assist other students to be laid plans for them too can propel to the next level. So that is the foundation this workshop came from. A desire to see other children their goal, just like my children.
All right. So can you tell me why parent-teacher collaboration is important?
Because these children they're not here often like that. We came in place and caused this to happen. Respond someone. It is your God responsibility to ensure that these children reaches their maximum potential, not only academic, can take place without a spiritual foundation. Once you have God in the midst of it and starting off the foundation of anything, then you don't have to worry. They collaborating with the teacher. I know that as people, we don't want to hear Jane is not doing that and all negative things. No parent want to hear that. But when you can sit and speak to a teacher and you can say to this teacher that my child, my understanding, being involved with my child, I have potential, I can see their progress on different levels, all because I am involved in your child's life, then it will make it even more difficult for you to understand what is needed for that child's development. And there are certain things to us, we begin to put up a brick wall and to say, my child. But when it is that you understand what is, what level they're at in terms of learning capabilities, you're able to know, approach the teacher and say to them, sorry, I know that Mary is a little slow in this area. However, we are working on it and we're asking you to do whatever it is you can to assist so that she can matriculate to the next level out of this little rut. So bonding with the teacher and what it is that is a difficult situation for the child, then you're both on the same page. You're now able to formulate a plan that can assist this child to make it a better academic year.
All right. Can you tell us a little bit more about the event and who will be speaking at the event?
Sure. All right. The event will be it's a parent-teacher bonding collaborating for success event. Taking place on the 29th of August. It starts at 8 with registration and ends at 3. The presenters will be, or keynote speaker, Reverend Ronald Thwaites. Greetings coming teaching council, Mrs. Ingrid Peart-Wilmot. We will have our 2 main speakers, which will be Mrs. Venice Irving, who is our host for this webinar. And we will also have Dr. Sandra Hamilton, who is an educator, transformational therapist, and confidence builder. The topics that will be highlighted will be parent-teacher relations, before, during, and after room, the transformational methodology. The other topic will be parent-teacher communication, creating the ideal atmospheric supporting dream team by setting SMART goals. Now, for the workshop, why is it that you should attend, you may ask, right? Forming good working relations with parents is imperative in helping your child or students being successful, right? It helps to learn and get training in a short crash course in vital subjects familiar with, but having a more rooted information given, then it will even help you to be able to formulate better strategies for the academic year coming. It also creates an avenue for network where you can share your ideas so that they too, you know, in terms of, I mean, no man is an island, no one stands alone. So everybody coming together, again, collaborate to get information in making may face during the academic year, you know, it will be less challenging for you. All right, so in to help us to be able to have a more comfortable and successful year.
All right, excellent. So I already went through some tips for both parents and teachers. So Lorraine, I'm gonna ask you, do you have any tips on how parents and teachers can collaborate, seeing that the new school year is right around the corner?
Definitely. All right. First of all, I have a couple topics, information in terms of tips. One that stands out is how to build a relationship with the child, right? Talk to them about non-school subjects. Kids don't always want a language. They want to hear fun things that they are more familiar, that's interesting to them. And you can even use those same subject areas and formula can help them. I do that with my children. So it makes it fun. So when you're traveling with them, you can use the atmospheric view. It's seasonality is and something that is very important. So you don't want answers. What it is. If they ask you something, you say to them, why so? What do you think? Especially my young one will tend to love to ask. And he will ask, why do you think that is so, mommy? And I will say, no, why you think it should be that? And he will say whatever the answer he will give. And then I said, all right, now for us to find a proper definition, I taught him how to use Google and his dictionary. So we will go for both, and he will scan through, and he'll go, oh, okay. And I say, see, whatever it is that you had given us an answer, but this is the correct one. So just listening to them, keeping things in pairs to be able to understand where their child is at. Another thing is, do you react to when your child does something liking? There's the rocket launch body effect that I like to call it, where it is you're going to, your natural reaction would be stop. You would look, you look upset, and as attitude, it will change for you. Don't stop fighting around. Your effect would be that I am pulling over when the car I will continue driving is what's going on with you and your we as parents don't even realize that you didn't study for this test and help them to finish the homework. You didn't find out exactly what when you see the C, don't do that rocket launched effect. Take a spade and say like you're struggling in this subject area. You know, what can that in itself changes? Your child will feel more coming to you, do so well on this. So can you help me through this? And you can, all right, appeal to their emotions. They're very remember, you know, they're little adults. So just like affect us, they're affecting them too. It can simply mean harshly, and they're offended. And you must remember they're human beings. Not because they all speak to you harshly. So why? And they're chosen little ones that you have to make sure that they are okay, because whatever it is that you do, it will come out publicly. So you have to be careful. This makes public performance, and sometimes you don't whatever indoor to be shown out. So you have to be very careful. Another thing is when I think about tips for some of the parents will go at them. I know we won't be able to, because they are limitless. But sometimes when we have our children, there are especially for mentally damaging things, we can say to them, right? You're too sensitive. Why are you going to say that to the child? When you think about it, I want to say that to a young child. You're an adult. You're sensitive about things as well.
Right, Lorraine. And the thing is, many parents parent how their parents parented them. Let me say that again. Many parents parent the way their parents parented them. That's a tongue twister.
Yes.
But that's true. So they were young, their parents to them. You're too sensitive. What are you crying about?
Yes.
There's nothing to cry. You want me to give you something to cry about? Do you know what I mean? So they are using that parenting style that their parents had as a reference in how they now will parent their child.
And that is so unfortunate. It is. And you know, one of the things is that when people tend to say that you were brought up, but based on where we're at now, the world has evolved in such a way that you're able to see, you're able to understand things much clearer and light. So you want your child 6 o'clock in dark water from Mountain View straight down to halfway tree? No, I don't want that, because you want your children to be better than you. You want them to a little easier. You don't want them to be totally irresponsible. You're going to teach them to be responsible. But certain things you're not going to want happening to them. So for the fact that when you're going to say to them, you're too sensitive, I went through this when I was grown. Do you intend to go through that for the rest of your life? Do you want to go through something like that for the rest of your life? And funny enough, you know, people that actually went through situations and said, when things happen to them, even now, they think it is such a norm that they allow it to take place. And they refuse to stand up to say, enough of this. No, I am, right? And because of that, if they took that stand, and they're able to impart that information to children, that totally changes the spectre is supposed to take place in that child's life later, because they too now will, I want to be better. So they're too sensitive. Don't tell them that's life, deal with it. Don't tell them because I said so is a background master behind this thing, kind of thing, like lifestyle that we had time, right? Don't tell them to shut up. Say, all right, be quiet at this time. I don't want you to speak now. Understand this, because again, you know, Venice, what display at home will manifest itself out there in some areas that we don't want. And you will also see it manifest when the child is at school and how they deal with their peers. It will reflect. That is something going to be very damaging to them, are taught not to. And we have to remember that the child is physically very fragile, but it is very mentally fragile as well. So you have to be so careful as to how you toy with them. You want to stretch, they become excellent men and women of tomorrow, men and women of great ethics and moral. Under the table, backward, can't think for themselves, deem kind of thing. You want them to be able to be confident. In other words, so in terms of parents have to remember that problems, if not resolved now, conflicts later on. And I think that's why we have this, because children deal with, because they to deal with their anger, they're not able to deal with any type of issues that avoided to be something that is very soft and manageable.
All right. So we talked about tips for the parents. We talked about, well, I know you talked about the parents. Do you have any tips for the teachers?
For the teachers, I would have for them is, when you're starting the school year, new coming into the school, you have old students matriculating to that, and some of those students you're already familiar, and your personalities that you'll have throughout the year. However, open the school year with an open mind. Do not, because of Tommy did and you heard Miss Jane spoke about it, mean that you should hold on to that and now is left mercy of you because of what you had heard and not of your man. Because unfortunately, people tend to remember the bad things first. When they see you, that's what pops. They don't remember the good. All right? They did so well, even though we spilled the milk on Johnny's book, and Johnny's book was now you, right? So I would suggest to one differently. Have an open mind, have a change of things, because you yourself want others to see you in. Strategize, I would say, like a chart, and you can have the student's name, you have their family, whether it's from a nuclear family, an extended, or so forth. You can itemize. You can have is to say what physical problems this child might have, it is this child likes, what fruit or juice, and you can columnize a chart like that. And when you have all of that information, and during the course of the day, or even for that you're planning your weekly plan for your lesson plans, say, okay, we can speak about this 10 children out of the, so let us do something, that activity that can pull all of them together. And think of you have things such as nothing gets infused and involved, even at teams, that I know Johnny, and Johnny is like, because that teacher knows your child so well and can say to you, mommy or daddy, this, and Tommy is that, and start with the good, start with the bad. Tommy is such a good, he's very cooperative and attending, and he loves to assist the other students. But one little problem, and that is he tends to look around even when I'm teaching, try and relate something to help Tommy to keep seated. So till the lesson will go. That's the problem with at home too. Because when we're eating, he will get up from the table, he's eating, and he's saying, because of that association of knowing what it is like to have that kind of that bonding. So even when something that was mistaken in not context, then you can overlook it. Because right away you saw that this teacher has a vested interest, growth and development. So we can look at that and use those methods in helping them to in the context help the students, and with those information you them solving techniques, your process to take place. And even though we to hear criticisms and anything child and start home beating up this child, when they do come out, you're going to severe effect, and you're going to jump on and defend. So let us know the other, so that we can actually have children understanding from the process of talk about how they feel. I did that. I didn't like when Jay, because of you're able to listen to them, express how they feel, then you're able to understand their perspective on things, and that in itself too can help. Because of that good listening attribute, you're able to help other students, parents who may not even have a clue that this is happening to their child, or this is something that took. So just knowing and taking the time to do so, creating little activities in understanding their learning style. And as I say, learning style, that's for my next workshops. Okay, so we will have a full house coming for this one in August, and for the next one coming up in regards to learning style, understanding and knowing the learning style, so that productivity can be achieved.
Mm-hmm. All right, very good. Now, Lorraine, you talked about some of the books that you've authored, and you even said that one of the reasons for you to produce these books is because of your child and how he reads by association. So can you just show us some of the books? You were talking about the table that you have for the timetable. Can you just show us quickly?
Right. Okay.
What
this is
produced?
One. Okay. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So this is one.
Can you hold it up a bit, please? I'm not seeing.
Different levels. Mm-hmm. Level 1 is from 2 to 4. Level 3. Level 1, I'm sorry, it's from 2 to level 1 table. This is level 1. Not sure if you can. This is from 2 to 4 in terms of the 2, which is 5, which is from 9 to 12. Right? In terms of level 1 is from 5 plus, so 2, 7 plus up, from 8 plus up. So depending on the child is at, and you, because you're involved as a parent or teacher, will fit. That's not just based on their age, but their level of understanding of the timetable. And it's a spin and learn timetable. It's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Have to spin the hand. So you'll say 5, and they will have to tell you the answer. So you'll help them to figure out what is 5 times 2. They tell you the answer, then you spin the wheel, which has opening. So you spin the wheel, and it gives you the answer there.
Okay.
So right away, so you can,
You're
and for
breaking
each
up.
timetable segment, before you go on, just scriptures in the Bible about children. So with that, your team, because that really is very essential. Right? So when they know how to trust him to guide, they too, and know they do nothing without him.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Actually, into the, you hearing me now?
I am hearing you.
Remember, not even my youngest really. I can give you that. I'll give you a story. My oldest child, sorry, studied for an exam, and he went to take the exam. He came home and he said to me, "Mom, I prayed, finished praying. It's as if I felt like you were in, and all the answers, God just came and got me." And I was like, when you learning with, I know the angels in heaven must have been very pleased with that, to hear that little response from him. So when the youngest went to swimming, and he prayed and he said to me, "Mommy, I help me swim proud."
I'm not hearing you clearly, Lorraine. Not hearing you clearly. Not hearing Lorraine at all.
He came, I said, and he did, enjoying that moment with us is something that is really, really good.
Okay, I'm not able to hear you clearly.
Readers learning to read.
All right, well, I'm hearing you
Pictures.
now. All right, well, I am happy that you have showed us these resources. These resources can do well in every classroom, including the special needs classroom.
And
yes, I'm hearing you better.
All
right.
Can you hear me now?
The teachers, Lorraine, please let the teachers know where they can contact you. Yes, Lorraine, I can hear you, but please let the teachers know where they can contact you.
I'm hearing you clearly. Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me? Yes, I can.
Hearing me better? Oh, you hearing me now?
Yes, Lorraine. So please let the teachers know where they can contact you.
Yes.
Or how they can contact you.
Okay. Yes. Or you can contact me at j3@gmail. That?
One more time.
You got it. All right. All right. You can contact aaa07@gmail.com. Yes.
All right. All right, guys. So there you have it. We talked
All right.
about parent-teacher bonding, collaborating for success for the new school year. We thank you for joining us, and I just want to encourage you to come out to the event on August 29th. It starts early. It starts
Yes.
at 9 o'clock in the
Can you
morning,
hear
featuring
me
the
better
Reverend
now?
Ronnie Bates, and also featuring myself as one of the speakers and Dr. Sandra Hamilton. We are looking forward to seeing you there at the event. We hope that you can
Thank you.
contact Lorraine at her
Are
email
you able to
address, which is JAA071
hear me clearly?
at gmail.com. That's JAA0371
All
at
right. So
gmail.com.
in
Thank you guys for staying with us.
the email
You can
address
always share this video like I said before.
a071.com.
Send it out to everyone who would like to be a part of the event, and let us know how you'd like to collaborate with us in the future. You'll never know. All right. So thank you guys for coming out again, and see you guys another time. Take care. Bye-bye. Thanks so much, Lorraine. Thanks, Lorraine.
At 8.